All right, guys, so these are our lovely flowers, Black-Eyed Susans. I picked these on a bike ride, and they are still doing really well in this vase of flowers. Now, what we are going to be doing is drawing these Black-Eyed Susans inside of our sketchbook. Now, I printed out a reference photo of Black-Eyed Susans because I believe that it is best to draw from real life, but it's also really nice to have a reference photo. And whenever we look at this reference photo, I want us to look at the shape, the color, the line, and the contrast of these Black-Eyed Susans. Because if I did this black and white, which is what I'm essentially going to do with this sketch, how can I make it so that there is still an obvious color difference and a contrast between the centers and the outsides? Because I want you to look at the first thing you notice of these flowers, whether it's a flower in real life or it's a photo of the Black-Eyed Susan. The first thing that my eyes goes to is the cone-shaped center. If I look at the real one here, there is a really nice, almost like a gumdrop shape to the center. So I'm gonna start by drawing this. So what I would like you guys to do is first, we need to label what we're drawing. So I'm gonna write what this is, Black-Eyed Susans. And I'm also going to write its scientific name, which, as you saw in the slideshow, is Rudbeckia hirta. And a scientific name is actually Latin. This is how the world of science breaks down plants and anything that's alive to classify it within its species and even further classifications within the scientific levels of classifications. So that is why all things that are living, even if they have a common name like Black-Eyed Susans, they also have a scientific name, and this is always in Latin. Always in Latin. Now I'm going to start by drawing my Black-Eyed Susans, and I'm going to put my reference photo here so I can see, but I'm going to start by drawing the cone center. So I started by just drawing a curved line, and the bottom, instead of making the bottom flat like this, I'm going to do it slightly rounded, so that way we know that this is something that is round, but it's as if we're looking at it from the side. Like we're looking at the flower from the side like this. So I'm looking at it from the side. I'm not looking at it straight up. I'm looking at it from the side because we're going to learn how to do petals that are going away from us. Now here's my strategy. From the very first petal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right in the center, and these have long oval petals. Now here's a key. Do you see how at the top I rounded the top? I didn't just draw a line straight up because this is showing us that the petal is connected there. It's not extending off of the center. It's its own separate thing. So once I have my petal in the center, then I'm going to skip space. I'm going to draw a petal that's coming off the side of the flower. And this is just mapping it out because if we look, these petals, well, some of them overlap one another, some of them are curved. So I want to leave space that way I can have a more natural looking flower. Next, there are petals that are going away from us. And see how they are curving away, and we can really tell that, yes, there are petals behind the flower even though we can't see the whole thing. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start by doing one little curved line right there. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to fill in this space with my Black-Eyed Susan petals. I'm going to make this one like it's bent and got broken because maybe it got bent in the wind, maybe a bug was eating it. The flower petals, as you can see right here, have lots of little munchy holes out of them. So next I'm going to start with the other side. I already have my one in the center, so I'm going to do my one that's on the side of the flower. I'm gonna make this one a little curvy so it looks more natural and more organic. Then I'm going to do another one that's going away. This is another petal that's behind the flower. It's going away from us. So I do my curve like this, but I want to be able to see it underneath. So I'm gonna lightly draw lines of where that petal would be coming underneath this one. Now, I just drew it lightly like this because when we fill in this space, some of these petals may cover up that one. And so as I can see, I have my line here. I'm gonna shade this one in since it's behind, and maybe it comes down like that. I'm gonna shade that in there. I could add more little bumps behind the center to show that there's more petals back there. And now using just lightly sketching lines, overlapping and overlapping and overlapping. Now the stem. Black-eyed Susan stems, I don't know if you can see them, but they kind of have texture to them. They have these little things coming off. So first, I'm gonna just map out where I want my stem to be by just drawing a line like this, but I'm gonna make it 2 lines since the stem is a round, really, really long, skinny cylinder. Then it has, if I look, it has these little green leaves coming off the bottom. So I'm going to add these into the bottom. And the leaves of Black-eyed Susans are kind of long. So I'm going to add some of those leaves on by just adding some long leaves to my stem. Once you draw your first one, right, we mapped out our Black-eyed Susan. I have my reference photo. If you're able to print out a reference photo, or even better, if you're able to go outside and find some Black-eyed Susans, that is absolutely wonderful. Next, I'm gonna draw one that looks like this, one that is more actually facing towards me. So I'm gonna start out with my center again. And you could add many, many, many more, as you saw my example of the sketch in the page. But what I want you to really think of is the contrast. We know that the flowers are yellow and brown or black, but how can we show this contrast by just using pencil or by just using pen? What lines can we use to show all of these different things? What if I want to do a zoomed in focus of one of the cone centers, right? So I'm going to just do lines where the petals would be coming off of this cone center. But maybe I want to spend time really going in and giving detail to one of these cones. Thinking about where the shadows would be, where I can provide contrast. Where is the darkest and where is the lightest spot? Okay, so I'm going to draw a little arrow there and say center. So here is my sketchbook page. I want you to also think of the shape. What is the shape of the center? What is the shape of the petals? What is the shape of the leaves? What is the shape of a Black-eyed Susan? Go ahead and draw in your sketchbook. I can't wait to see what you do. Please submit your sketches of your Black-eyed Susans into the 4th or the 5th grade shared Google Docs beside your last photo. Thanks, guys.